Good evening, everyone. We'll go ahead and get this forum started. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Matt McCarty, and I have the pleasure of being the moderator for this forum this evening. The difference between a forum and a candidate is that I'll be asking all of the questions, and typically the candidates don't engage each other. So that's basically the difference between what will happen here. This evening we'll have the candidates start with a 2-minute opening remarks. Then we'll go into this series of questions. We'll alternate between the candidates and between the different seats that they are running for. Questions will be limited to 1-minute responses. Then at the end, we'll go back to a 2-minute closing session. We are going to have the clerks, obviously clerk candidates sitting separately. Their questions will be separate generally from the county commission candidates. And the county commission candidates, all 4 of them will answer the same question. I'll rotate back and forth with the intent that no one has an advantage of always having the question answered first or being able to answer the question last, etc. So we'll try to rotate that through. This is the only forum that we will be having for the Elko Area Chamber of Commerce. The Elko Area Chamber of Commerce is who has hosted this, and we also appreciate being able to be here in the Elko Convention and Visitors Authority because they have also allowed us to have the room. In the general election, as of right now, I would anticipate that we'll have at least 2, possibly 3 forums for the general candidates. In the room this evening, in addition to our candidates that we have up here, so after the forum, if you would like to meet and visit with anyone currently in the room, to my understanding, we have 2 candidates for Elko City Council, Mike Hagan and Marissa Lostra, though Marissa did indicate that she may need to step out. For county clerk, whoever is successful on the Republican clerk side will go into the general election, and Mike Hawkins will be facing them in the general election. Mr. Burt Gurr is here on the ballot, however, he's running unopposed. So as long as he gets 1 vote, he's in, and I'm pretty sure we'll have at least 1 vote for him. 2, all right, at least 2. There we are, good. Glad to know you're voting for yourself, sir, because I was already counting your wife. Mr. Bill Hochstedler is here. We had tried to plan on getting a Republican Senate race. Unfortunately, we weren't able to have both of our candidates here this evening. There was a conflict, but we appreciate Mr. Hochstedler being here today. And then also running unopposed, but on the ballot for county commission is John Carr. So if you'd like to visit with any of the candidates afterwards, you are welcome to do so, and I'm sure they'll kind of identify themselves if need be. With that, we'll go ahead and go into a little bit of the rules. I already said the 2 minutes for opening, 1 minute for close. Ms. Billy Crapo with the Elko Area Chamber of Commerce, the CEO, will be running our timer. The timer is available to our candidates to see. You all will not be able to see it. At 15 seconds, Billy, will it go to yellow. So it'll stay on green until we get to 15 seconds. At 15 seconds, it'll switch over to yellow. It'll then go to red at the end of their time limit. And if need be, then I'll go ahead and interject after a few seconds, and we'll move on to the next candidate or the next question. All right, with that, we appreciate everyone's time. Thank you very much. And we're gonna open with Misty Atkins. You will have, as candidate for the county clerk, you will have the first opportunity to open the forum this evening with 2 minutes for your opening statement.
There's 1 bar in the battery.
Hold to turn on.
My name is Misty Atkins. I'm a mother of 3. My oldest daughter is graduating this year. My youngest son, he's 10, and I've homeschooled him since the start. I have been the treasurer on the Elko TV District Board, serving over 2 years, I believe, working on upgrading infrastructure, critical infrastructure for emergency services. I'm an assistant instructor with Elko Tactical, teaching CCW classes. I'm a dental assistant by trade, and I come from a very strong military family. The majority of my family members are veterans in the military. I was the chair moderator for the 2022 gubernatorial debate with Joey Gilbert. Unfortunately, Joe Lombardo did not attend, but he did apologize. I became concerned with elections in 2022 when my husband and I were watching an election night, and we saw the numbers for President Trump going up and then going down. Shortly after that, I attended the very first Coalition of Nevada Voters meeting, and I've been working on election integrity behind the scenes ever since. I believe that every elected person is a public servant and should represent their constituents and serve their community. I vow to listen to Elko County. I vow to meet face to face and be responsive to anyone that reaches out to me and has concerns or would just like to have a conversation. I will advocate for paper ballots, hand counting, and voter ID, and one-day voting. I will advocate to end motor voter, which registers non-citizens. I will advocate to end mail-in ballots and same-day voter registration. I will work to get our voter rolls under control and back to the pre-2019 numbers. In June 2019, or January 2019, we went from around 2,000 inactive voters to over 8,000, and today that number sits at over 10,000. If you want to vote for change, please vote for me.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. Our second candidate for the clerk this evening is Becky Plunkett. Ms. Plunkett, you have the next 2 minutes.
I was born and raised in Elko, Nevada. I'm a third-generation Elkoan. I have 2 adult sons who are also born in Elko, and I love this community. My parents are also live in this community as well. Before working in the election department, I was a dispatch supervisor at the Nevada Highway Patrol, where I managed 5 employees. I obtained a first-line supervisor certification from the Nevada Department of Public Safety in 2010, and then I completed the 40 hours of supervisor training. In February of 2013, I transitioned to the Elko County Clerk's office in the election department. In 2018, I oversaw the implementation of the new voter registration system, voter tabulation, and direct recording equipment for the election. Additionally, I handled various responsibilities at the front window, such as receiving and filing court pleadings, issuing mayor's licenses, filing notary bonds, issuing dog tags, and taking our commissioner's minutes, all of what is done in the clerk's office at this time. Last year, I led the implementation of a new case management system with Elko's Justice Court and the Public Defender. I also worked with the vendor to configure the program and develop the business processes for that program. Furthermore, I contributed to training the district courts, family court, and clerk's office on the new case management system. Recently, we successfully implemented the state e-filing system with Elko Justice Court, and I continue to collaborate with the various departments to ensure an effective justice process. I'm also confident in my experience in education and conducting elections, and I believe I am the right person for the job. Despite the challenges I have faced and will continue to face, I'm committed to running for county clerk. My message to the Elko County is the clerk's office upholds high standards. With my experience and dedication to this office and the community, I aim to maintain a dependable office that provides top-level service. I also will ensure that the continuation.
Thank you, Ms. Plunkett. The first of our candidates for County Commission will be out of District 1, Ryan Gale. Mr. Gale, the next 2 minutes are yours.
Hold her down.
Can you hear me now? Hello, my name is Brian Gale. I'm from Ruby Valley. When our children started high school, our family also had to get a house in town in Wells. So my family's in Wells and Ruby Valley. I ranch in Ruby Valley. I've been there for about 18 years. I studied manufacturing engineering in college, and I never would have thought, matter of fact, I told my wife, I said, honey, I just don't, this was after we were married, maybe 6 months, I just don't see myself as a rancher. And she still agrees with me. No, ranching is great. It's absolutely beautiful. Elko County is a marvelous place to live. You got some elbow room. You can see. In a lot of places in the United States, you can't see for 30 miles like we can here. It's a lovely place. The reason why I'm running for county commissioner is I'm very concerned with the direction of America in general. I don't know if any of you were kind of shocked by the way that we handled the COVID-19 thing. It's like we're trading liberty for what? Safety, for security, and that's a trade-off that we can't make. And right now, I think, unfortunately, there's an expert class, the expert class of some people call it the swamp, where people know better than you common voters. And I just don't believe America was founded like that. I mean, I don't feel that it's right to take away from us our ability to govern ourselves. Rule of law, self-governance. This is why I'm running for office. Vote for me.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. Our next candidate for District 1 is Laura DelRio. Ms. DelRio, the next 2 minutes are yours.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Laura DelRio. Most of you know me as Nikki. I have lived in Nevada for 43 years. I have served on the Wells City Council for 2 consecutive terms elected. I sat on a seat for 2 years prior to that, as well as planning and zoning. So I've had quite a few years in working with our small communities in government. I am an educator. I have been teaching for 20 years. My life has been given to serving the community that I live in. I spend the majority of my time giving back. That is in government, as well as coaching sports, running sports, and serving the community, and working with people in the community face to face. So I have decided to run for commission because that's the next progression. I feel like I have learned a lot in my years of being in the community of Wells, and I think that I have the ability to serve you as your county commissioner for District 1. So that's everything.
Thank you, Ms. DelRio. Our next 2 candidates are vying for District 5 seat. The first of those candidates is Rex Steninger. Mr. Steninger, the next 2 minutes are yours.
All right, thank you, and thank you all for being here tonight. I'm just about halfway through my 10th year as a county commissioner in this position. I was originally appointed by the governor to finish the term of the late Grant Gerber, and he's the father of my fellow commissioner, Travis Gerber. I was elected to the position in 2016 and 2020. If I'm re-elected this year, it will be my last term. The state law limits us to 3 elections, so I'll be done. I was born and raised right here in Elko. I represent the 5th generation on my mother's side and the 4th generation on my father's side. I'm committed to Northern Nevada, and I'm running for a 3rd term to continue the influence on the policies that have made Elko great. I've always been proud of Elko to be my home. Elko has a tremendous can-do attitude. We were the first to use big name entertainers to attract gamblers. Some of those big names were so impressed with Elko that they bought property here and made this their second home. We were regarded as the cow capital of the nation. We were named the best small town of America. We moved our railroads out of town. We were home to the first university in Nevada, and we started the community college system right here in Elko. We built the South Fork Reservoir, a world-class museum, and a beautiful convention center. We are one of the top gold-producing regions in the world. We host the Silver State Stampede, the oldest rodeo in Nevada. Now, with the guidance of the Boys and Girl Club, we feature 3 youth centers. They just broke ground last week on a beautiful recreation center, and the plans are in the works for a 6,000-seat event center.
Thank you, Mr. Steninger. If we we can have just one moment, Mr. Mullins, before I go to you, and I apologize. If we could have everyone take just a couple seconds to silence or turn off their cellular phones, that would be greatly appreciated. The next candidate, also with District 5, is Chris Mullins. Mr. Mullins?
Hello everyone, my name is Chris Mullins. For those that don't know me, about 2-3 years ago, I decided to devote my life to fight for freedom. That brought me to these Chinese voting machines, which currently are active in our voting systems. And that brings me to the gentleman beside me, which I'm running against. For the first year, he was the commissioner that I felt was on my side to get rid of the voting machines. This was the final email that he gave me. Hey, hello Chris, thanks for the email and the links, pretty wild. I am very concerned and distrustful of the voting machines, but also confident that the vote totals for Elko County are accurate. That said, I cannot justify the expense of switching to paper ballots at this time. It goes on, but that's pretty much the end of it, and that's why I'm here today, sitting before you guys. I'm a father. I've coached for the past 20 years, roughly, my kids growing up back east. We couldn't afford for them to go to college, so we moved out here. I'm a miner, work in the mines. I just got off and I had to take off to be here tonight. We're on night shift, so I'm kind of tired right now. I apologize. I'm done with this. Brian said something about the swamp and people that think that they know more than the people that live here. That's these guys, the commish, and I know this from experience. I've seen it for the past 2 years. Vote for me, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. What I'd like to do at this time is hold all applause, and the reason behind that is because in a minute, a question, we're gonna need to go through these here fairly quickly so that we have enough time to get through everything. So I appreciate the enthusiasm, but for time's sake, we'll go ahead and save our applause until the end, or at least after each candidate has had their opportunity to do their 2-minute closing. So that we're gonna jump into the first question. These first 2 questions, all candidates will answer, and we'll still try to keep clerk and commission together, though as we answer the question, or ask the questions for the commissioners, please pay attention to which district they represent, because we are not going to keep the questions adjacent to each other when they are answering. So please be aware of that. This first question, Ms. DelRio, you will have the first opportunity to answer this. Many of you have already indicated this in your opening statement. However, please elaborate, the 6 of you, on what experience has prepared you for the office you seek.
My experience with the government working in Wells, I have been on the city council for 2 elected terms. So with working with that, I've gotten a chance to sit on boards, the rec board over here, and learning and understanding, the way government works and how important infrastructure is. And I've dedicated my time. I've dedicated the last 10 years to creating and bettering the community that I live in. So I feel that I have dedicated my time and spent multiple hours researching, learning, and growing in my ability to lead and my ability to know what is going on in our county and the state. So.
Thank you, Ms. DelRio. Mr. Steninger, you'll have that same question and you'll go next. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, okay, I got it. Well, my duties on the, like I said at the opening statement, I've been on the commission for 10 years. My duties on the commission include service on the budget committee and as liaison to the Spring Creek Association, the Sheriff Department, the Fire District, the Nevada Division of Wildlife, the BLM, the Forest Service, the Humboldt River Basin Water Authority, and the Central Nevada Regional Water Authority. I also serve on the board of directors of the Nevada Association of Counties and the National Association of Counties Western Interstate Region. Again, I am a lifelong county native and I will dedicate myself to continue the amazing success that I detailed in my opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Steninger. Mr. Gale, you'll go next. Would you like the question repeated?
What has prepared me for this office?
Perfect.
Okay, very good, thank you. Those are some really impressive lists of preparation. I won't say that I've been well seasoned in public office. I have served on the cemetery board in Ruby Valley. We meet twice a year, I think. And I've served on the conservation district for way too long because we can't get anybody else to serve on it. But other than that, no, I haven't been indoctrinated in the machinations of public office. What I have done to prepare for this is I've studied the founding of America. I've studied the way that money works. And these are, that was a quick 45 seconds. I've prepared for this just by studying. And I know that our solutions don't come from everything we've always done in the past. We need new ideas. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. And Mr. Mullins, you'll close out this question.
The question is again?
What experience has prepared you for the office you seek?
I fight for freedom. I fight for freedom. The experience I have is the Coalition of Nevada Voters had me as a leader until they turned their back on me. That's it as far as politics. I'm not a politician. I fight for freedom straight up. So my experience, honestly, is a lifetime of slavery that has led me to be sitting here today. That's my experience, and that's my drive.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. And to clarify, you were the last of the county commission candidates for this question. We will turn to our candidates for county clerk now. Ms. Atkins, you will have the opportunity to answer that question first.
I believe that I'm qualified for this position because I listen to the community. I've been listening to the community for 4 years. I research diligently, I ask questions. I never think that I know the answer to the question. I'm always open to learn, to be taught, and I'm eager to learn and to be taught. I want to learn from everyone else's experience. I also believe that we need to remove ourselves from the old establishment, introduce new faces, new ideas, and people that are actually going to believe in the fact that they're public servants.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. Ms. Plunkett.
I started in the clerk's office in 2013 in the election department, so I've been doing elections since then for over at least 10 years. I'm very soft-spoken. I believe that since being in the clerk's office for that long, I have experience working in the clerk's office. I've done elections, I've done the court stuff that the clerk's office does. We've done the marriage licenses, we've done the notaries, all the documents from the court, or filings through the window, through attorneys. And then I started doing implementation of case management systems and new voter registration systems. So we're also getting a new voter registration system in July 31st, which is top-down registration system that we're going with the state. So my experience also was with the state of Nevada as a dispatcher. So I've been working in the government for over 20 years at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Plunkett. Our next question, Mr. Mullins, you'll start with this question. What changes or improvements would you like to implement if you are the successful candidate?
For one, as the Elko daily reporter put it when he interviewed me, the article that he put in the paper, he calls it the realtor cabal. I want to put an end to that in Elko. Realtors own and run the show, and if you people don't realize that, you need to wake up. That's one big thing. Being at the intersections, I don't know if you've seen me do my signs, but I have a lot of members, younger people, older people, that have come up to me and brought up things in this community that need fixed. I don't know if you all have heard the intersection exchange. When the crosswalk changes, it sounds like a machine gun. If you're a homeless vet standing at that intersection, who's to say that's not gonna make you jump out into an oncoming car or a truck? That was adopted from California. A young kid brought that up because he was concerned. Pressed the button and I heard it and it scared me. There's a lot of change that needs to happen.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. Mr. Gale, you'll go next.
Changes.
What changes or improvements would you like to implement if you are the successful candidate?
Very good. I don't have a real long list of things that I'd like to change. I know that there's going to be quite a few issues that arise. Some of them, most of the commission meetings are, like the school board meetings, are just devoid of humanity. They just get through the stuff, and then occasionally the meetings will have packed to the gills. I guess the number one thing that I want to implement, I guess, change the way the roads are. I think we can improve our roads. Of course, living in Ruby Valley, we live on a gravel road. And I'm not super familiar with how Elko and Spring Creek are, but I understand Spring Creek has issues with the roads too. Roads is one issue that I'd like to address a little more on. And just, studying out the issues more, not just doing it because that's the way we've always done it. I know that a lot, so, well, okay, never mind.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. Mr. Steninger, you'll have that next question.
Okay, thank you. I don't really have any changes. I've been on the commission for 10 years, so we've been working to make changes. We mainly try to maintain a real fiscally conservative approach. When Delmo, Cliff Eklund, and I got on this commission, we struggled to maintain a 4% ending fund balance, which is demanded by the state. We had to impose a hiring freeze, and we had to suspend the cost of living allowances to keep us fiscally sound. So I'll continue that. We are now comfortably at a 12% ending fund balance, even after commissioning an independent study to bring all our salaries up to snuff. So I just want to continue what we've been doing the last 10 years.
Thank you, Mr. Steninger. Ms. DelRio.
I feel the same as Rex. I don't think that there are a lot of changes that need to be made, but I do feel that there are things that just need to continue. They need to continue growing with what they're doing. I would like to advocate for healthcare in our rural areas, because that is a huge issue in the outlying areas, getting quality healthcare. And I know that's been something that has been a focus with our communities, with the dispatch, the 911, things like that. And I would like to continue work on that and continue expanding the fire district over to the east side of our district. And so those are the things that I would like to continue with and just add to. And I feel that I could most definitely help continue those to grow.
Thank you, Ms. DelRio. Moving to the clerk candidates, Ms. Plunkett, you'll have the opportunity to answer that first. Would you like for me to repeat the question?
For the clerk's office, there's not much change that we could possibly do, because everything we do in our office is run by statute and regulations by federal law and state law. We can do some minor changes for efficiency. I would like to really see the district courts go to paperless at some point. That would help out a lot. But as for changes, everything is run by statute, so I can just do minor changes, but not huge changes.
Thank you, Ms. Plunkett. Ms. Atkins, you'll be able to close out this question.
A couple of the things that I would like to do would be to make the office a little bit more friendly. There's still a notice up in the office saying that you need to wear a mask or be vaccinated. I think that needs to come down. Those COVID barriers, I don't really like that very much. As well as the hours. I understand that the hours are mandated by statute, but the statute also says you can submit alternative hours to the county commissioners for approval. With that, I would like to offer maybe 1 to 2 days a week where we stay open longer, and we could do that by alternating the schedule where a couple employees come in a little bit later or stay a little bit longer. There's ways to work around that. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. And you will have the opportunity to answer this next question. From here on out until we get to the closing remarks, all questions will be specific to the individual seats that they are seeking. So for our county clerks, the first question individually to them will be, please explain what you see as the responsibilities by job function of the clerk's office.
You wanted me to go first, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna step out of that a little bit. The clerks, I mean, Becky, when she was doing her opening statement, she pretty much gave all of those answers. So what I'm going to look at is a little bit out of the box here. I believe that one of the functions of the county clerk is to fight against things that come down, that are against our beliefs and the Constitution. And one of those things is the independence of our county. We are a constitutional county, and the top-down system that Becky had mentioned is unconstitutional. We have the ability to be independent in Elko County, and this ERIC system is actually a left wing. It's funded by a far left activist, David Becker, and it's been rejected by numerous GOP-led states up until this point. So one of the things I believe that the county clerk should be doing is advocating for its citizens and its constituents.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. Ms. Plunkett, same question. Please explain what you see as the responsibilities by job function of the clerk's office.
By job function for the Elko County Clerk's Office is actually by statute. So they're the ex officio of the elections, and they're also clerk of the court. So in our offices for the clerk's functions, we, like I said in my opening statement, we handle marriage licenses, we handle notaries, we handle marriage officiants, we handle dog licenses. And for the clerk function, or correction court functions, we handle all the district court filings, felonies, gross misdemeanors, we have divorces, we have custody, we have probates, we have guardianships. And then we have the court clerks that are in our office that go do the meetings for the district court. We also handle all the filings that come through the window for the district courts, through the window, through the mail. We just implemented the new e-filing system. And then we also have elections. Elections is a little bit different. So we have, technically for the clerk's office, we have 3 different departments in our office. I know the courts and the elections are the biggest ones that handle or are huge in our office.
Thank you, Ms. Plunkett. We'll now move to the county commissioners. For your first question out, this will go first to Mr. Steninger. Please explain your understanding of the various commitments required of a county commissioner.
I think the first commitment is to the health, safety, and welfare of all our residents.
Turn your mic on.
Oh, did I turn it off?
Hold.
Go ahead and hold it down, Rex.
Hold it down.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, our first commitment, like we always talk about, is the safety, health, and welfare of our county citizens. That's our primary goal. That's whether it's crickets, whether it's a violation of our constitutional rights. It doesn't matter. That's our primary responsibility, and I have it written on the front of my folder. And so that's basically it. That covers everything.
Thank you, Mr. Steninger. Mr. Mullins, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I'm gonna answer that though with another question. For everybody in this room, what is the cost of freedom? Have you ever thought about that? This guy doesn't want to, doesn't justify the cost of getting rid of them. He's concerned about your safety and health. If you're not free, what's your safety and health? Honestly, think about it.
Thank
That's
you,
my
Mr.
answer.
Mullins. Mr. Gale.
Question was, what's the obligations?
Please explain your understanding of the various commitments required of a county commissioner.
Yeah, so the previous county commissioner at District Number 1 was Wiley Bruff. I've known Wiley for quite a few years. We've been good pals. And he says, Brian, this takes a lot of time. He says, you probably won't do anything on the ranch every day, half the day. You'll just be answering emails and phone calls and talking to people or going off to somewhere, visiting different communities. There's a lot to it. There's an awful lot to it. But the thing that I think would be most important for me is to be able to have a relationship with the community members that I represent. That means I know what they think. That means I talk to them. I listen to them. I think that's the number one thing is I've got to be prepared to listen to the issues and then see all the sides of it.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. Ms. DelRio.
I agree with Rex again that we are here for the health and safety of our community. Being from a rural community and knowing that District 1 is our rural communities, creating longevity and listening to what people have to say, their questions, their concerns, that's going to be my job as an elected official. My job is to support the people that elected me, to be their voice for them. And understanding the issues. And being in a small community, the issues do differ slightly from living in a more urban area, and understanding longevity, stability, things like that. So I feel that my job is to help create that.
Thank you, Ms. DelRio. Moving back to our county clerk candidates. This next question is Plunkett. You'll have the opportunity to answer first. The county clerk is only able to directly influence affairs within Elko County. With that understanding, are changes to the election process in Elko County necessary? And if so, what are those changes and what are the projected costs of those changes?
For elections, they are basically statutes that we have to follow. So if there's any changes that you want to make to the election process, you need to contact your legislature at the state level. So that's where everything starts with elections for the processes that we have to do in our office. If you wanted new voting machines, I know, but we got a quote for new voting machines, and it was like $647,000 approximately for brand new voting machines that if we wanted this year instead of the machines that we have. So everything, unfortunately, with equipment and stuff like that does cost money. Paper costs money, ink costs money. And we also have to have a certain budget. So Elko County has a certain budget that we are allowed every fiscal year. So we have to make sure we at least maintain in that budget. So sometimes not getting new equipment is not feasible for the county as well.
Thank you, Ms. Plunkett. Ms. Atkins, since there were multiple parts on that, I'll go ahead and reread that. The county clerk is only able to directly influence affairs within Elko County. With that understanding, are changes to the election process in Elko County necessary? And if so, what are those changes and what are the projected costs of those changes?
Well, the clerk can't make any changes really without the approval and consent of the county commissioners, as well as the community. I believe that, like Rebecca said, that the changes need to be made at legislature. And if you have been keeping up with any of the news articles, there's been plenty of news articles where they've talked about the 17 county clerks coming together and supporting different initiatives. We don't all have to be on the same page. We do not all have to agree. Elko County is completely different than Clark County, and our values and our wants and our wishes and what works for us is completely different. Just because all of these other 17 county clerks have agreed upon the same thing in the past, doesn't mean that Elko County now should not advocate for what's gonna work for us today, currently, in the situation that we're looking at. So with that being said, I would definitely be advocating to our legislators and all of our elected officials for change that we want here in Elko County.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. Moving into our commissioner candidates, Ms. DelRio, you will have the opportunity to answer this question first. What is your long-term plan for replacing aging county infrastructure, including buildings, roads, and equipment?
A long-term plan for that would be honestly collaborating with the other entities in the different communities, because when you're talking about District 1, the communities are a little bit different and the buildings are a little bit different, and going out for grants and working towards funding for things like that to create the stability and to create funding for them. For example, in Wells, our senior center was not even inhabitable, and we went out and got grants and worked with numerous entities to build a new senior center for our senior citizens. So I think things like that can most definitely be done in the rural areas.
Thank you. Mr. Gale, same question.
Great, thanks. Yeah, you better.
What is your long-term plan for replacing aging county infrastructure, including buildings, roads, and equipment?
Yeah, so the one thing that's pretty uniform throughout every form of government is there's not enough money. You're gonna hear this for the first time here. I don't even know if this actually exists yet, but it's an idea that I've had and I'd like to pursue it. What if you could buy a tax exemption for your property? So instead of paying for 1 year's property tax, what if you could pay for like 15 years of that same property tax? And after you've paid that 15 years, as long as you own that property, you never have to pay tax again. So this would be kind of like on the way that large universities have an endowment fund. They have a massive amount of money and they live off the interest. If we did a deal like this where you could buy your tax exemption, then interest could pay for your taxes in the future. And when your property sold again, it would be more valuable because, you know, maybe the next person would only have to pay half of those 15 years. It's in a way that we could make more money.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. Mr. Steninger, same question.
Or as far as the roads,
Go ahead and hit your mic.
again,
I think they're dying, Rex.
it goes off. As far as the roads and equipment, we've already got that covered. We've instituted a infrastructure tax that funds our roads and our fire department. So we made great strides in those two departments since I've been on this commission. So I think we've got that handled in the long term. As far as the facilities, we've commissioned an architect that came up with just a wild plan to spend almost $90 million on a judicial center and many other improvements to our facilities. You know, that's just way too expensive, and I am really reluctant as a last term commissioner to commit my predecessors to that debt. So, uh-oh. Do I need to repeat anything, or?
You're good, keep going.
Okay. Well,
We can give him a few more seconds.
I've got the yellow light, but that, you know, I am very reluctant to commit my predecessors on the commission and the Elko County taxpayers to a tax burden like that. So we've got to whittle that down to something more manageable.
Thank you, Mr. Steninger. Mr. Mullins, same question. Would you like for me to repeat it?
No, thank you. So I am very anti getting anything from the government. I don't believe in that right now because the government's not for Americans. There's always a catch. I'm open to suggestions from the public on a way to improve the buildings and roads. I'm open-minded, but the government's not the way to do it right now. I'm 100% behind not getting a cent from the government. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. Candidates, just to let you know, if you single press that power button, it might mute it, and hopefully that'll keep a little bit, but if it's yours dies, all right. Well, we'll get yours replaced as well. Thank you, Ms. Atkins. And we'll actually start with you next on this question. Going back to our county clerk candidates, what understanding do you have of court processes, and how are you prepared to be the ex officio clerk of the court?
Well, what many don't know is I was actually legal secretary for equine litigation in Florida. So I'm actually versed in not only drafting documents, but filing them. So taking notes, I believe, wouldn't be as difficult as drafting documentation on multi-million-dollar horses in Florida. But I'm always open for learning, and I don't believe that that it's anything that's unlearnable. Everything's attainable, right? You just have to set your mind to it. Just because I haven't done it before doesn't mean I can't do it.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. Ms. Plunkett? Absolutely. What understanding do you have of court processes, and how are you prepared to be the ex officio clerk of the court?
Since working in the clerk's office since 2013, when I started in the elections department, our job description for deputy clerks also includes the courts. So our job description includes everything that I've also mentioned before with the clerk's office. So with processing at the window, we process filings from attorneys, from pro se people that come in and file divorces or custody cases or probates. We also do the filings from the mail. We're also entering that information into a case management system for the judges as well. And then we also have court clerks that are in our office that handles jury trials. They help with clerk in the jury trials. They handle the court minutes, helping the judges and all the staff of the judge's office with their court functions. We're also the keeper of the records, so we have the files for the judges as well, all the divorces and custody and felony and gross misdemeanors.
Thank you, Ms. Plunkett. Moving on to our commissioners. Mr. Gale, you'll have the first opportunity for this question. How do you plan to fund current county projects as well as future projects without a major cash influx like floating a bond or borrowing from another county?
I think I just answered that question last time. So, yeah, we can make more money. This is a different idea. I don't know if it's been done yet or not. We can generate more funds by selling to landowners a tax exemption, okay? So you pay a certain amount of tax up front, 15 times, I don't know what exactly it would be, maybe 15 times your tax. And then you never have to pay tax again, as long as you own that land, as long as your current improvements maintain the same. So you build a new house on it, yeah, you'll have to renegotiate that. What this will do, it'll create an enormous fund that we can live off the interest of. Then as your land sells in the future, the next person will only have to pay 7 times. So that will add value to your land. It will give the county more money, and it will provide, so we'll be living off the interest. We can do a lot with that.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. Ms. DelRio, same question. Would you like for me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
Besides, I apologize, how do you plan to fund current county projects as well as future projects without a major cash influx like floating a bond or borrowing from another county?
Well, there's many entities out there that will grant money, and you can definitely go out and research the places in the United States and in Nevada where you can get grants for specific infrastructure, for specifics for the different types of activities that you're trying to fund. For example, the Boys and Girls Club, that was funded very well, very heavily. And there's lots of ways around that. You can use in-kind as your contribution to the grant, so that doesn't cost taxpayers anything. I think that's all.
Thank you very much, Ms. DelRio. Mr. Mullins, same question.
I would actually, same as the last answer, I would look at talking with others from the public to get the best way to handle that. There is one thing though, taxes, that's not the way. We don't need to be taxed more. I don't believe in that one single bit.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. Going back to our county clerk candidates.
I
Ms.
think
Plunkett,
you,
you'll
I think
have
you
this
missed
first.
me, Matt.
You know what? I did, Mr. Steninger. I apologize. Mr. Steninger,
And I have.
how do you plan to file?
I have some different answers.
All right, fire away.
Like I said at my earlier, response, is I'm very reluctant to impose a tax on future generations and future commissions. And one alternative is the pay-as-you-go, like the school district used for generations. That we already have a tax in place where we can make about $5 million a year. So we can be patient and let that accumulate and pay for it as we build. The trade-off there is we accumulate that, the prices keep escalating. So that's the big decision we have to make in the near future is, do we bond short-term or do we be patient and pay as you go? Got you before you.
Yeah, you were quick.
Thank you, Mr. Steninger. All right,
Matt, can I add one thing?
You've got a few seconds, go ahead.
Okay, I recently tried, I've been into independent music. I know y'all see me, I like to listen to music. Elko, it's been impossible for me to find one building for bands to come play to show people who they are as musicians. It seems like in Elko, all they want are signed contract artists. I'm about bringing people here. If we can get tourists here, that brings the money into Elko County. That would help with the question you had.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. Ms. Plunkett, you'll have this next question dedicated to the county clerk candidates. With social media being a major staple of modern day life, how will you balance the increased communication and transparency that social media provides with the required confidentiality of your duties as county clerk?
With social media, can you hear me?
Yeah.
With social media, it helps us being transparent, letting.
Hey, you can't shut her off.
I'm turning it up.
That one for now.
Okay. This is the batteries for
It is, yeah, go ahead and.
Here, try this one.
Did it die on you?
It
Yeah.
died.
Oh, I took your water.
Okay. With social media, we use social media to help with the elections, to let everybody know what is going on with the elections. With the confidentiality, we don't post addresses that are confidential. We don't post any birth dates. We don't post anything like that with confidentiality. We want to make sure everybody has their private stuff. With transparency with elections, we want everybody that's informed. We post on the Facebook for Elko County. We post on our website all the information you need for elections and the clerk's side.
And Ms. Atkins, same question.
Social media could be, I think, utilized a little bit more. You post dates, locations, updates, new NRS, things that the commissioners have passed recently, whether it be a new meeting location because they don't always meet in Elko. I believe they travel. So all of that information can be shared on social media without any conflicting information being shared that's supposed to be kept confidential.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. We'll now move back to the county commission candidates. Mr. Steninger, not because I skipped you last time, but just because of the way it happened to fall, you will have this next question first. And that question is, besides involvement with outside entities, such as the Elko County School District and the Boys and Girls Club, what are your plans for the development of the children of Elko County? Do you believe the county should play a role in our future leaders?
Well, absolutely, we should play a role, but I disagree with your statement that we should distance ourselves from the school district and the Boys and Girls Club. The Boys and Girls Club has proven that they are the avenue to reach our kids. They've built 3 centers in Elko County. They just broke ground on a recreation center. Why in the world would we distance ourselves from that? So absolutely, I support them. And beyond that, we've accumulated $15 million at the county from our COVID relief funds that we will help spur the fundraising for the event center that they plan. So that's our involvement, but it definitely includes the school district and the Boys and Girls Club. We can't do it alone.
Billy, I apologize. We're gonna give Mr. Steninger another 30 seconds. I apologize for the question not being clear enough. Besides that involvement, so outside of the involvement with the school district and the Boys and Girls Club, we know that the county has good relationships there. We're saying, besides those 2 entities, what else would you see as development?
I see no reason for anything else. They're doing a fantastic job, and I'm gonna jump on board with them.
All right, thank you. We appreciate that, Mr. Steninger. Next question will go to Mr. Mullins, or sorry, the next opportunity to answer that question.
I feel like there could be more family related geared events for our youth here in the communities. There is plenty here, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there could be more for the youth that would be beneficial for them. The baseball fields that never happened, trying to push city people, whoever's involved in that, to try to get more and an indoor place for kids to hit baseballs, softballs, without being on a team. The Igloo does it, but you have to be on a team. So individually, kids have nowhere to go in the winter. But there's a lot of stuff for the youth. I'm a huge kids person. I'm all about helping kids.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. Ms. DelRio.
So besides Elko County School District and Boys and Girls Club, where I live, we have Boys and Girls Club. And like Rex was saying, that it plays a very large role. However, our outlying entities, they do not have Boys and Girls Club. So when it comes to trying to create daycare, trying to create sports, trying to create extracurricular activities, including technology, tutoring, things like that for our kids, the entities are left to their own devices to create that. And so giving support in that area, not monetarily, it doesn't have to be monetarily, but just giving support in that area and understanding that our outlying areas, some of the kids, yes, we have a lot of ranching kids, but some of the kids are latchkey kids. They go home and they sit by themselves at home after school. They don't have a Boys and Girls Club to go to. So creating a safe place for kids in our smaller rural communities would be great.
Thank you, Ms. DelRio. Mr. Gale.
Can you read that again?
Absolutely. Besides involvement with outside entities, such as the Elko County School District and the Boys and Girls Club, what are your plans for the development of the children of Elko County? Do you believe the county should play a role in our future leaders?
That's what I thought you said. So yes, I definitely believe that our current leadership should influence the future leadership. I'm a little bit hesitant to interject as the government into families. I mean, I don't believe in the nanny state if we're approaching that at all. The county does have good relations with the school district and the Boys and Girls Club. Out in Ruby Valley, our Boys and Girls Club is called branding. And we have that every year, whether we want to or not. So yeah, as far as that goes, I really don't know. I would defer to each parent. I still believe that parents can parent.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. Going back to our county clerks, Ms. Atkins, you'll have the opportunity to answer this question first. Between the judicial system responsibilities, elections responsibilities, and civil clerk responsibilities, including commission and board requirements, the clerk's office handles a lot of information. What experience do you have in collecting, storing, and verifying data?
First of all, I don't believe that any elected position would be left open for somebody to just flounder. I believe that there are policies in place to pass on that information so that somebody isn't just going in without any kind of education or idea of what's going on. Like I said a few minutes ago, I was a legal secretary for an equine litigation attorney in Florida, and through that process, I gained a lot of knowledge in the court system, as well as tax and everything else that goes along with running a law firm. I didn't run the law firm, but I was the only one that was in the office 100% of the time. So that has helped me with all of the knowledge that would be required between the county commission and the judicial system that we would be working with.
Thank you. Ms. Plunkett.
I started in the clerk's office in 2013, and I have been doing all of those duties ever since. With all the information that is going through our office, you have to understand what is confidential and what is not confidential, and you also have to look at the policies that we have in place and the statutes that we have as well that mandate a lot of what we do in our office.
Thank you. This will be the final question for our county commission candidates, and we will start with Mr. Gale. In what ways are you a better choice for county commission than your opponent?
Well, better is a comparative form of the term good, and I'm a little hesitant to compare myself to her. I have really appreciated Ms. DelRio's efforts in the school system in Wells. If you're a student there, you probably don't like her methods because she demands a lot of her kids. And some of my kids have complained about it, and I appreciate it. So I'm sure she would make a very admirable commissioner. The difference, I think, what might set me apart is the Constitution of the United States. I just can't say enough about it. And we are so far adrift. We're so far away from the way that our country was founded. Is this a national issue? We're not running for Senate. No, but the nation is made up of communities. So if the community doesn't have the Constitution in its blood, then the nation won't. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. Mr. Mullins, you'll have that opportunity to answer that question next.
I'm not here for a legacy. I care about freedom. I care about the people that live here, the residents, not the people that have more money than they know what to do with, but the working residents of this county. Period.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. Ms. DelRio, in what ways are you a better choice for county commission than your opponent?
I'm gonna say just experience. I've spent and dedicated a lot of my time to bettering our communities and spending time, all the footwork, the legwork, the groundwork. My efforts and time that I've spent in the government in Wells, I think would most definitely allow me to come in and hit the ground running as a commissioner. and I feel that I have the ability to learn and grow and express my opinion, and I have a lot to contribute to our district.
Thank you, Ms. DelRio. Mr. Steninger.
Okay, well, first of all, I really resent my opponent's claim to be the freedom fighter in this race. While he's waving a sign on the corner, I've been out fighting for our freedom. Continually. We've declared ourselves to be a constitutional county here in Elko and have filed suits against laws that infringe on those rights. We have voiced support for our law enforcement while nationwide people were calling to defund the police. We resisted the hysteria associated with the COVID pandemic by refusing to enforce the ridiculous directives of our governor while still operating a health board to address legitimate local concerns. Beat you again.
Thank you, Mr. Steninger. Our final question for our county clerk candidates. Ms. Plunkett, you'll start this question. The clerk's office has more than a dozen employees. What experience do you have with managing people?
I started in Nevada Highway Patrol as a dispatcher. So as a dispatcher, you're actually managing police officers that are out there. You're telling them what calls to go to, answering their calls, calling for ambulances or tow trucks or anything like that. So I'm able to help those officers in the situations that they are. Right before I left Nevada Highway Patrol, I became a supervisor. So I only managed 5 employees when I was there, but I was still able to manage those employees as well as still working on the radio and handling all the calls as a dispatcher. I just recently started as a clerk as 8 months managing the 12 employees over 12 employees that we have. And I think we have an awesome office. Our staff is amazing. We work together really well, and I am so super proud of them, of all the accomplishments they have been doing.
Thank you, Ms. Plunkett. Ms. Atkins.
Well, I'm a mom of 3. I've successfully raised 2 teenagers. Both of my teenagers have been working since they were 15. I have one that's 17, one that's 18. They've been working at the same job the entire time. They're very successful young adults. I run a group of over 1,000 people on Facebook. I'm a communicator. I'm more than willing to listen. I'm a human first, and I believe that everybody deserves to be heard. Everybody deserves to have a voice. And I don't see anything that would stop me from being able to run an office with 12 or more people.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. At this time, we'll go into our closing comments. We're going to work from the far end of the lectern down this way. Mr. Mullins, you have the first opportunity for 2 minutes for closing remarks.
All right, this is it. I'm America first. I'm against every commissioner that we currently have right now. You all know that. Many of them are in this room, including that one, a tile. I'm a fighter. I don't care what you think of me. I'm in this for freedom. And I resent not running in 2022 against you, Rex.
Oh, I'm glad you figured out what district you live in.
This is my time, not yours. We'll get yours. So anyway, if you want freedom, if you are concerned with a government that is tyrannical, commission that do what they're told to do, then vote for me, period. Because I'm not that guy. I'm a fighter for us.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. Mr. Steninger.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna get down in the gutter with this guy, but
I'm not in the
I do
gutter,
wanna,
buddy.
shut up.
I'm not in the gutter,
Joined
Rex.
forces, there's a couple of things I didn't get to mention early on. As the commission.
And don't tell me to shut up.
Shut
Mr.
up.
Mullins.
Kiss my ass.
We have joined forces with the city to keep the air service in Elko. We feel we've done a great job distributing the millions of dollars that the federal government passed out during the COVID. We provided funding for the Silver State Stampede, the Spring Creek Horse Palace, Jackpot, the Lions Club Clamp in the Moyle Canyon, and then we saved another $15 million to start funding for the new event center that I feel will be a huge step in continuing Elko's legacy as a can-do community. I think the choice is pretty clear. You have a lifelong resident with a 10-year record of serving the community and a recent immigrant to Elko whose claim to fame is being the crazy sign guy. I've always joked that my campaign motto will always be, you can vote for me or the other guy. That's the choice you have to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steninger. Ms. DelRio.
My experience on the Wells City Council has allowed me to contribute to our community's growth and prosperity, working alongside fellow residents to address local issues, implement positive change. My tenure on the City Council has equipped me with the knowledge of local governance and the ability to collaborate effectively. This experience has honed my skills in decision-making, budgeting, community engagement, and problem solving, which I believe are crucial for addressing the broader issues facing our county. I'm prepared to leverage this experience to advocate for the best interests of our county's residents and drive meaningful progress across Elko County. If elected to County Commission, I'm confident that my experience on the City Council will enable me to hit the ground running and make meaningful contributions to the betterment of our entire county, especially emphasize the rural areas.
Thank you, Ms. DelRio. Mr. Gale.
Thanks for coming. I mean it. You could be at home binge watching whatever. Thank you for caring enough about the future of our county to come out here. It's one thing to complain, but to actually be here and spend your own time to get here and to listen and to decide, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And Matt and Billy, thanks for putting this on for us. It's nice to be able to air the differences that we have, what there are, and give you a good chance to take a look-see so you can decide knowledgeably who you're going to vote for. I don't have a long history in public office. I don't count that as a detriment to myself. The main thing I learned in my engineering study in school was that there is a solution. I guarantee you there's a solution. It might cost a lot of money. That's the wrong solution. So what you do is you rework that solution in your mind. Well, first off, you have to understand the problem and you have to understand it well. When you get to that, then maybe you take previous solutions. Every time you face anything in your life, you're putting a 3x5 card inside your brain. In the future, you might take a couple 3x5 cards out and say, oh, we got big universities have tons of money and the county has no money. Well, we put those two together and what do we got? Well, we follow their pattern. Thank you for coming. My name is Brian Gale. I hope you vote for me, but I hope you tell me why you don't want to vote for me also. I really value your opinions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. Ms. Plunkett.
I've been in Elko all my life. I was born and raised here, and I love this community. I plan on being here as long as I can, at least until I retire. Well, hopefully probably retire here. I want to thank you all for your questions. They were very good questions. I plan to continue to uphold the standards of Clerk's office, and with my experience and dedication to this office in the community, I aim to maintain a dependable office that provides top-level service. I also want to thank my family, my parents, my sister, all my friends, my staff, everybody that supported me. I really do appreciate it. And don't forget to vote. Your vote really does matter. Even in the primary, or even for the primary, it does matter. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Plunkett. Ms. Atkins, the final 2 minutes are yours.
I just want to say, Becky, that it's been a pleasure to sit beside you. I appreciate the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. And my daughter's favorite color is pink also. I've been a resident of Elko since 2012. My husband graduated from Carlin High School, so he's from here. I've embraced all that it means to be an Elkoan and the independence that comes with being able to call yourself an Elkoan. I believe in preserving that independence. I believe in fighting for that independence and being outside of the box thinker to make all of that happen. I want to earn your vote and I want to earn your trust.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. And audience, if you'll join me in one more round of applause for our candidates. I also would like to thank you all for being here this evening. We appreciate your time on a Wednesday evening. Thank you for coming out to support your candidates or to be a more informed voter. Our two candidates for county clerk. The winner of these two ladies will go on into the primary to challenge Mike Hawkins for county clerk.
The general.
Did I just say primary? Winner of the primary goes to the general. Thank you for the correction. I apologize on that. And the winner of the District 1 County Commission race will go to challenge Jay Dalton. The winner of District 5 will be elected to the County Commission. There is no non-Republican challenger, and so the winner of District 5 between those two gentlemen will be our County Commissioner for that district. Please also join me in thanking the Elko Area Chamber of Commerce and the Elko Convention and Visitors Authority for allowing us to have this evening. Mail-in ballots have been sent and are being accepted now. Early voting begins on Saturday, May 25th. Primary day is June 11th. Please, you've made the time to show up here this evening. For those of you that are eligible to vote, I'm looking at some of you younger ones. Sorry, not yet. But for those of you who are able to vote, please make sure to take the time to go out and vote. We appreciate you all being here. We appreciate our media partners as well. Thank you very much and safe travels home. Have a good night.